This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. It's so great to have you joining me here in these online lessons. In this video, I'm going to give a little introduction as we start working in the lesson series on altering the upper extensions that we can add to chords. So we've learned about 9th, 11th, and 13th chords previously in the lesson series. We're going to learn here about how we can sharp the 9 or flat the 9, how we can sharp the 11th, or how we can flat the 13th. And what's really cool for us is we've learned a lot of voicings previously, like in the last several lessons, on how we can alter the 5th to our normal major 7th, minor major 7th, and dominant 7th chords. We can actually use some of those same voicings when we are playing ones with altered upper extensions. And I'm going to go over that specifically here in this video. And then as we continue through the lesson series, we're going to look at some other alterations, especially with altered dominant chords, some common voicings that we use. And we're going to be jamming together on chord progressions, practicing with all of these things. So that's what's going to come starting here in this video and then through the next several videos. This video accompanies lesson 29 from my Chords and Harmony Books 1 and 2 method books. So in this video, I'm supplementing the materials found, sort of adding to or explaining them here with what is found on pages 188 and 189 with lesson 29 as we get started with it. Okay, so we're looking at altering the upper extensions. First, let's just remember that the upper extensions, the 9th matches step 2, only it's an octave higher. The 11th matches step 4, only it's an octave higher. And the 13th matches step 6, only it's an octave higher. So we can have a flat 13, we can have a sharp 11, we can have a sharp 9 or a flat 9. So how does that relate to steps 2, 4, and 6? Well, a flat 9 would match flat 2. So in the key of C, we have a D flat would be a flat 2, so a flat 9 is that D flat an octave higher. If we had a sharp 9, that would be sharping step 2. Step 2 is a D, so D sharp would be sharping step 2. The sharp 9 would be an octave higher than that root. So we can, when we go on to the 11th, we can't flat the 11th, that just takes us down to the 3rd, but we can sharp the 11th, that takes us up to the sharp 4. So the natural 4 in the key of C is an F, so F sharp would be the sharp 4, the sharp 11 then would be F sharp an octave higher. Now what's really interesting with the sharp 11 is it's the same enharmonic pitch as the flat 5, so a G in the key of C goes down to G flat for the flat 5. F sharp and G flat are enharmonically the same pitch. So, because especially on the guitar, we don't have room to play a natural 5 and a flat 5 or that sharp 11 anyway, we're only going to be playing one. So we can use to play a sharp 11 voicing, the equivalent voicing that has a flat 5. So in the last video, in the last lesson of videos, I should say, went with lesson 28 that comes from the book. With those string of videos that go with lesson 28, we learned about major 7 chords that have a flat 5, dominant 7th chords that have a flat 5, minor 7th chords that have a flat 5, and minor major 7th chords that have a flat 5. If any of those chord types called for the sharp 11, we could alternatively play the voicing that we learned that has the flat 5. Now, that's not going to happen very often for many of those. It will happen quite a lot for the dominant 7th chord, may happen with the major 7th chords. So major 7th chords and dominant 7th chords are likely to have a sharp 11 asked for. We usually don't have that happening with the minor chords, though it technically could. But we can just use our altered 5th voicings to play those. So for example, I'll just demonstrate in B flat here. If I need a B flat major 7 sharp 11, I can use the B flat major 7 chord that has a flat 5 that I learned. So that sharp 11 and that flat 5 are the same enharmonic pitch. I don't have a 5th in the chord otherwise, so the sharp 11 can just be the voicing that I use for the flat 5. If it was the dominant 7th one, I would just have the dominant 7th. So that works like that. So that's how that sharp 11 works. Sharp 11 can equal the flatted 5th. The only difference being on piano, maybe if we had more fingers, we could include with the sharp 11 a natural 5. But on the guitar, we don't have the fingers. These are on the same strings. We don't have the fingers we rarely have the fingers to include the natural 5, so we can just use the flat 5 voicings that we used when the sharp 11 is called for. So that's how that works. Pretty cool. Now we have the 13th. The 13th matches the 6th step of the scale. If we were to sharp the 13th, we just get the flatted 7th. So there is no sharp 13, but we can flat the 13. In the same way that we have the sharp 5, or sharp 11 and flat 5 being the same anharmonic tone, guess what? The flat 13 and sharp 5 are the same anharmonic tone. So the 13th is an A pitch on the guitar. The flat 13 would be an A flat, and it's going to be the octave higher, but that's okay. And what do we have when we have the 5th? We have the G pitch and up to G sharp. So G sharp and A flat are the same anharmonic pitches. So it works just as well right here. We can use our sharp 5 voicings that we learned with lesson 28 to play anything where it's calling for that flat 13. So that's super, super helpful to us. It also is helpful to us as we continue, because if we were to see a chord symbol that wants an altered 5th and a flat 13, we can use the voicings that we're going to learn in the next few videos that have a sharp 5 with an altered 9th. So as we continue through the lesson series, we do need to learn some voicings that use the altered 9th. The altered 9th is most commonly seen with dominant 7th chords. Occasionally we see it with other types of chords too, but it's commonly seen with the dominant 7th chords. So those are the ones that we're going to focus on. Altered dominant 7th chords. Dominant 7th chords that have the root, the 3rd, the flatted 7th, and then also have an altered 9th and or an altered 5th. Now this is what's cool. You'll see this on page 189. There's 6 different ones, and we're going to learn them in the videos to come, where you can have that sharp 9 or flat 9 added to the dominant 7th chord, and then we can alter the 5th as well. So there's 4 that we could have: a sharp 9 and a sharp 5 together. We could have a sharp 9 and a flat 5 together. We could have a flat 9 and a sharp 5 together, or a flat 9 and a flat 5. So there's 4 combinations that we can have. So with these voicings, if in the chord symbol we come across something that asks for a flat 13 and a flat 9, I could play my flat 9 sharp 5 voicing that I have here. So it carries forward as well as carrying backwards. So all the chords that we learned in lesson 28 can be used for those chord types. When we have these 2 alterations happening, we can just use the voicings that use those 2. And then going forward, as we learn these altered dominant chords, if we come across a chord symbol calling for a flat 13, then we can use the one that used the sharp 5 in connection with the altered 9ths. So as we see those happening. So in the next several videos, the next 6 videos, we're going to take a look at these altered dominant 7th chords that have the altered 9th and the altered 5th, or the altered 5th, the altered 9th with a natural 5, or the altered 9th with an altered 5th. So we're going to work on those, play through some progressions. Then we're going to jam together on the other chord progressions found in the book. Lots of different chord symbols that will give you chances to apply the voicings that we're learning here, in addition to the ones that we learned in the last video, as well as voicings that we've been learning for quite a while without alterations happening. So kind of brings together these chord progressions, bring it all together, all the different types of voicings that we've been learning recently. So lots of cool things to come to accompany lesson 29 in the chords book. So it's going to be great. Let's just keep moving through in this lesson series. Take care, and I'll see you again.
Thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And be sure to check out more great content. You can find more information about me and my products at kristenbromley.com. Take care.